18F isn't that great a show, but I'm glad it exists. The premise is that the main character, Tsukishiro Haruto, is stuck in a dream world, littered with strong beings known as witches that are stuck in comas in the real world. Each one has an underlying problem such as an eating disorder that led to their current situation, and our protagonist, being the noble hero he is, goes to save them all. This lends itself well to an episodic format, which is what the show opts for, but 18F doesn't stop there. Each episode doesn't just have a different story, but a completely different member of staff in charge. The potential here is pretty crazy as it accentuates the characteristics of these shows, with the amount of freedom each director is given allowing for anything to happen, even complete changes in art style, best demonstrated in episode 7, opting for a gorgeous papercraft aesthetic. This can have some fantastic results, with the changes in art style lending itself well to the new story presented to us, but as far as the plot is concerned, this free reign is a double-edged sword. Tonally, this is all over the place, with next to no consistency being present from one episode to the next, as one moment it's a super violent revenge story, and then we'll be presented with a straightforward love story. Because of this, it's hard to recommend this to a certain kind of anime fan, and this inconsistency means the show doesn't have a sense of identity. Episodic shows normally wrap up with some kind of overarching plot by the end, and this show does have one here. Main character Haruto seems to be stuck in the dream world, which will need to get resolved, and his sidekick Katsumi, a doctor in the real world, is trying to save his sister who is also in a coma, known as Sleeping Beauty syndrome. While I'm sure both these plot points will be addressed in the end, whether or not I'll care is a different matter entirely. There's been next to no character development for the two since the very beginning, and this is a problem with the amount of freedom the directors have, as giving members of staff time to shine is great, but they need to be aware of the bigger picture and try and build on the main cast. I've seen 7 episodes so far, and I can tell you next to nothing about Haruto's personality. He seems to be a kind person as he helps the witches, but at the same time he killed someone in the second episode. They deserved it, but this grey morality isn't brought up again, resulting in him feeling like a blank canvas that's cleaned every episode for the director to do as they see fit. If a show like this doesn't have a compelling main cast, what reason does the viewer have to keep watching different stories week after week? Looking past the apparent lack of structure the show has, the majority of the show's episodes are completely crazy, as you'd expect from something taking place in a dream world. I'm normally all for surreal landscapes and mind-bending visuals, but in an episodic format this means we have to keep coming back to this initial state of confusion each episode, which can get tiresome. The best episodes the show has to offer are the more generic stories. They're fine enough, but there's not anything special about them. Again, without any sense of identity, there's no reason to watch a romantic episode of 18F over Your Lie in April, but at least these cliché episodes usually have a satisfying conclusion. At the end of the day though, saying these kind of stories are best is like saying getting shot in the foot is better than getting your dick cut off. Neither are the greatest. While it's not realised often, the idea of a constantly changing art style is both impressive and fantastic. Episode 7 was nonsensical as it retold a real-life communist massacre in a fairy tale format, but its art style kept me watching, and hopefully other visually interesting episodes will be present in the future.